Still 3 turns potentially from Primal Calamity up here, which would be a Primal Calamity if he got that out on us. That's such an interesting line of play. This card, I feel like in Brawl, this card has done more harm than good for us right now. But we'll have to see. So as you saw from that clip at the beginning, we're going to try something different where I put clips at the beginning. We'll explain more of this. My usual intro will be after the deck tech. And since this week's theme is speed with Karolus, let's get right into it, guys. What is up, everybody? So first, we are going to look at Karolus. Here is our pretty basic deck tech. This is an aggro deck, focusing primarily on getting out creatures early, getting some damage with them, and then potentially using burn spells to either control the board or to get that final bits of burn in your opponent's face. We are primarily doing this around Karolus' second effect, that every time you do damage to an opponent with a permanent you control via a spell, it does that much damage +1. So that turns our shock into lightning bolt, effectively. The other thing that's good to note is that if a spell you control deals damage to another permanent you control, prevent that damage. Why this is important. Unlike Tajik, Karolus has 3 toughness, which means that we can actually keep Rem alive while we run things like Fiery Cannonade, Flame Sweep, all these 2 damage sweepers that really can help us to get under other aggro decks, and then they turn into 3 damage sweepers against our opponent. So he makes them incredibly efficient, and that's the main way we decided to build the deck, and the original motivation behind it was putting things like Volcanic Fallout, Fire Cannonade, Crush the Weak, and Flame Sweep all in the same deck and using them in an aggro deck to keep our game plan alive while shutting down our opponents. And this deck is terrifying when it goes off. First, you're going to want to keep ideally 2 red sources and a white source in your opening hand. You can mulligan down to 6 pretty effectively. It's all about getting in there with these early, 2-drop creatures are going to do a lot of damage. Kari Zev is incredibly potent. Robert the Rich getting some kind of value. Runaway Steamkin, as we all know, if he sends a battlefield, is incredibly good. Flame Channeler is even better because it's also card draw and just grows as you're doing what you're doing anyways. Some of the more, we're keeping a pretty basic one. You've got things like Adonto Vanguard, which is very good aggro game plan. Limerick Aspirant is going to be one of those things that can help your board grow out of control against locked board states, as well as like just keeping you from doing things. Season Hallblade, again, being indestructible. We're not trying to go past turn like 5 or 6 ideally, if we can help it. So we really want to have things unlocked by then. So we picked all the good 1 and 2 drops we really keep. Our 3-drop spot we primarily saved for things that were really good or our burn spells, things like that. So for instance, Magic Missile is uncounterable and can then basically be a 3-mana, 6-damage spell if you do 2/2/2. Which is, oh my god, amazing flavor for that. We, of course, things that reduce price, do more damage. Relic Robber. Relic Robber is an interesting tech card I put in here. I have found that the 0/1 can sometimes help your opponent with the mutate abilities and things like that, and like buff abilities with like, it's very fun when it works against decks that don't have answers for it. But I've also found it to be sometimes a little hit or miss when things get like, can affect with the Goblin Construct since it can still attack. I also really like Gutter Snipe in the deck. It has been one of those things where if you get to 5 or 6 mana, you can drop a Gutter Snipe and ping out, like get that burn for the last bit. Maybe he's not something you play early on, but just a very fun card to kind of go with there. As for tech cards, things that I think that don't necessarily fit with what I've said so far. First thing is Curse of Silence has been incredibly good. A viewer recommended it to me when we were building the deck, and it's very iffy at first, but I've gotten it against a couple different games. For instance, getting against a Yawgmoth deck, that was a game we had to cut today, and because I played it, they couldn't turn for their Yawgmoth, and we just won because of it. Like, it just basically turned into them having these really sub-rate 1 and 2 drops that couldn't do anything, that I then board wiped, and he couldn't play Yawg till turn 6, and it's important to know into what matchups you can remove their commander, and do not always draw with the Curse of Silence. Sometimes you can remove for the commander and you want to keep it off. You keep the Curse of Silence down and it double taxes them. And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Esper Sentinel is a fantastic 1-drop that's going to let us draw a lot of cards. We don't have a ton of 1-drops that are going to do value, and this giving us any kind of card advantage is just incredible in this color combination right now. So it is so strong. I also personally have really liked how Moonveil Regent and External Frenzy have played, because even though most games where I get a chance to play them, I'm already winning enough by the time I cast them, we do cycle through our hand incredibly quickly, and having these as options has felt really nice. Personally, Inferno and Haktos being something like the big top end has been really nice as well, since Haktos having protection is really great to let him get through, and Inferno can turn into a 6-mana uncounterable punch him in the face, which has also been known to kind of close out games. Now, a few interactions that I think are important to kind of note here as well. So we already talked about Magic Missile and anything that does multiple forms of damage, and that's especially important when it comes to Grape Shot. Grape Shot is amazing with Rem Karolus. You ideally are playing like, you're towards the mid game, you've got 4 or 5 mana, you play a 1-drop, a 2-drop, and then Grape Shot, and all of a sudden Grape Shot's 2 mana, do 6 damage, which can incredibly impact the board or destroy your opponent's chances of like having a life. And it's really good. As for mana, unfortunately the mana base is incredibly tight. You could probably run it with fewer, like I'm still running Fielded and things like that because I'm just greedy. You could probably run it with just most of these being basics at this point. You want as many of the untapped lands early game as you can. We did put in a couple extra tapped lands that tap for both color and mana over colorless lands in testing because it just ended up kind of feeling a lot better in the deck. But yeah, that is the deck. It is very kind of straightforward, but oh my god, this deck is doing so much work right now. We put it together kind of thinking it would be a meme, and it's probably one of the fastest aggro decks I've seen so far. And it feels better than a lot of other mono red matchups because what you get from white and a little bit of the life gain and a couple more of like the cheap burn spells that can go face or the options of doing things has felt really impactful so far, as well as the fact that Rem Karolus can help you to control the board via these board wipes being one-sided. And honestly, the games have just been incredible. I cannot recommend checking out this deck enough. I know it is very rare heavy, and you could probably adjust that slightly, but really the amount of burn to creature aggro has been just incredible at dealing with various hands my opponents have had, whether it's having board wipes and then having the burn to finish them off, having haste come out after board wipes, being able to go wide against decks where I have 1 or 2 has just really been awesome. Such a fan of this deck. Please try it. I can recommend it. And if you want to see it in action, stay tuned. You're going to be surprised. So we're trying something new. It's got my rhythm a little messed up with this video, but I'll work it out by the next one. We are putting all of my personal stuff in the middle, as you can tell right now, to try to get people closer into the action as best I can. So I'll be very brief today. Hey, thanks for watching. We officially hit over 40 subs, and that is so cool. I'm so excited. I don't know what I'm doing for 50 yet, but I'm thinking about doing some kind of giveaway or some kind of event on the channel to really kind of like, give back to people who are supporting me. So if you guys like this video, please comment or subscribe. It lets me know I'm doing something right. And, with this video in particular, I want you to comment your favorite game, the one that took you the most by surprise, and just like how quickly it closed out. Because as you can see by the length of this video, it is a very short video. The games went incredibly fast, but yeah, that's what we have, guys. I will not keep you waiting any longer. I'll work on what I'm going to do more for this area in the future, but this is where this kind of like intro originally is going to go now. It's between the deck tech and the gameplay. So thanks for watching, guys. Let's go to the games. Game number 1 with Rem Karolus. I know, but I'm going to call him Carl. Into Is It Ral, Is It Viceroy, huh? This is okay. I'd personally prefer something else, but I'm pretty okay with this. Unfortunately, our 3-drop slot's really crowded in this hand. I'd like to mulligan for a 1 or 2, but it just feels really greedy to do so. We'll go ahead and pass here. We'll hold that Lightning Strike down, I think. Depending on what they do on their turn 2. Or they'll probably drop this Relic Robber, start getting that ping damage going in. Or Legion War Boss. So I want to get the haste going pretty quick. Based on what they're holding in their hand, we're going to go ahead and try to get Relic Robber going. It could be a full control deck, in which case, unfortunately, not having a 1 or 2 drop could really hurt us. We're pretty okay with this. This seems like a pretty okay trade. We do make them kind of decide whether they want to counterspell or not. We could go for the Epic Spellbinder, but we're pretty happy with our haste options as they are. We're looking for the counterspell here. He's not going to let this resolve. What's wrong? He is going to let it resolve. Could look to have a Ral out next turn. Our opponent is ramping pretty hard. So we're going to go ahead. How do I want to do this? Let's start here. We want to hit their hand as we can. And this, yeah, forces the counter spell, which is nice. Which we need to be a little worried about them potentially comboing us out, but we're going to get them fairly close here, I think. And Gutter Snipe double spell could be pretty sick. We have put a pretty nice clock on them. Unfortunately, they are still in a pretty good position to come out of nowhere. 5 cards in hand. They do have Ral. I don't necessarily think we would go after Ral. We'll see what they get off the minus here. I could see us bolting this. Or maybe just sending one of these at it. Ooh, whiff is not what you want to see there. So, I am, like, just now noticing my camera placement. Whoops. I'll adjust after this game. We'll send a 2. Oh, okay. Go here. We're not really worried about drawing right now. We need to, we're trying to bolt him down to like 6 as quick as possible. We're actually saving the lightning strike open. For 4 damage, basically. Going pretty okay here. Only has... we'll go ahead and hit him in the face for 4. And that should be all she wrote on this one. Nice. We do manage to get a quick win against the control deck. Here we go. Karolus. Game number 2. I actually don't hate this hand. It's really good if we pick up a 3rd land, so we're going to go ahead and keep it. Gonna hit our opponent with that hello. Domrianic Bowl is piloted by Tercios. Burning Tremissar is pretty good for him if he has another 2-drop, which he does. Go ahead and get our Vanguard out. Opponent is going to go ahead and draw. Do they have their 3rd land? Looks like they're going to play a Snow-Covered Mountain and Domri Anarchabolus. It's pretty good. See if he'll plus or minus here. Weirdly enough, minusing is bad for him, I feel, right now. Okay, so just go for the plus, which I think is a smarter play. Go ahead and take a thick amount of damage here at 6 as the attack we test from a Burning Tree. We miss our 3rd, but we do get a haster, which is nice. Go ahead and take down Domri. Keep him from ramping next turn. And getting the fight offline for a minute at least. Fortunately, still going to be on the back foot. Does play a Field of Ruin. Ooh, go ahead and get chunked out here. I don't necessarily know if we want to let him have this in play or not, but I don't particularly know what we're going to do, so we have to go this route. Get him down 7 ourselves. Opponent has got an 18, go for the draw. They could recast Domri. They may also have some 5-drop options in their hand. They do have a Quartzwood Crasher. Oh no. Okay, we would like another red source. Said what I said. Let's go ahead and Solar Blaze. It's unfortunate, but I had to do it. I actually, if I'm smart, I would have paid the 4 for the Vanguard, but I'm not. Which is a problem. Fix the reach counter. So we will drop Aspirant. Then we will move to combat. Rem Carl. Go into the Vivian. See if he decides to keep the 3-drop or not there. We'll go ahead and keep this Sacred Fire at instant speed. I'd like to take care of Vivian sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, we're still at the back foot, so I'm going to have to deal with Destiny Spinner. It's going to go ahead and go to that. We're actually really on board for that. That gives us a red mana source here, which means we can actually get Haktos out now. We couldn't activate it regardless, so maybe he needs triple red for something, or triple green. I'm not sure. That seems like a very weird play. Got a snow-covered mountain here. Go ahead now if we got fire, some of our abilities, just turn it on. Does play a command tower. Has 4 mana available. Good Destiny Spinner. Decides to harmonize. Okay. Opponent is definitely a get in for us for 2 though. See if he attacks. And the smart move is to attack and place this down. But he decides not to. Which is an interesting move. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We need to gain the life anyways. We'll Cave of the Frost Dragon. We will Chandra Torch of Defiance with the minus to get rid of the Destiny Spinner. We will make Rem even bigger and kill Vivian. Gaining us a pretty okay board state, if I do say so myself. Still not totally sold on our ability to do much this game, but we are slowly coming back in it. Our opponent plays a Castle Embereth. Now has access to 7 mana. Thankfully, none of it too important. Domri does make it the ability where he could now fight the Luminarch Aspirant, which we wouldn't be happy about, but does put a damper on our board state. Yep. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and run away Steamkin. We're going to uptick Chandra for 2 mana, so that we can then Haktos the Unscarred. Haktos the Unscarred is protection from everything but 2, but we will go ahead and take out Domri. I actually do. I do expect that, Domri. We are keeping our opponent down. We haven't make so many proactive moves at their life total right now, but the good news is Incubation Druid cannot kill Haktos right now. Kogla will be able to fight Rem, which is not what we want to see. Okay. We'll go ahead and take action. That was a pretty big hit, actually. But at the very least, Haktos will be able to get through. We do have access to more mana. So we're going to go and actually do that. There's no reason why we don't go in here. Opponent drops to 3, which means that they really have to be able to get in here this turn, it looks like. That Inferno was a really good top deck. Chandra giving us extra mana to get Haktos and Inferno out with the Steamkin growing could be really nice. We do have access to a haste target, so if he ends up tapping out, we could always get in with Relic Robber to seal the deal. He does potentially have a blocker for the Haktos by the Incubation Druid, so I need to be a little careful about that. One has 3 cards in hand. Gonna be a close one. They're thinking. Thankfully, though, he already cast the Kogla, and Domri is so expensive. If he does Domri, he can't do much else. And we managed to steal it out. Nice. Quick game. Game number 3. This time against Vannifar. Probably Vannifar Pod. Unfortunately, no white mana means this is probably going to have to be a mulligan away. We do have white mana here, and we do have potentially board wipes and some decent aggro options, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. Since we do have the Slaying Fire with 3 red to deal with Prime Speaker, and that's like the most important thing with this deck is you need to be able to deal with the Prime Speaker the first turn it comes out. Our opponent does go down to 6, which makes our Robber a little harder to hit, but they are still in the draw. So we'll go ahead and still have enough here. Do manage to hit out a Botanical Sanctum, which is nice, meaning they don't get necessarily as good of mana. You gotta look for the highlights here. We'll go ahead. Let's see if he blocks before I decide to crush. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and Bone Crusher this. Or is it not to? Unfortunately, we get to draw off that, but I wanted to see if they would block first. And we want to kind of like do everything we can to stop them from getting to complete their game plan. Alright. Fortunately, we are getting in there quite nicely. When it does get the pot off, but now we have the Slaying Fire or Bolt. So let's Bolt. Well, Sacred Fire. Well, okay. Actually, he has 5 cards, so we'll attack first. See what we pull. Breaching Hippocamp. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and Sacred Fire too. Really put him on the back foot here. We want to do everything we can to keep him from actually having any way to get back in the game. So, there's a couple ways we can go about this. But we will go ahead and we're just going to Crush the Weak. Go to visit own Druid here. He has 1 mana, so we could get Spell Pierced. Miscast. Interesting. Okay. We'll just go here for 4 damage. And now we have a pretty good reach at this point with 5, 6, 7, 8 damage here, plus Rem in the air. I think we might be able to close this one out pretty quick. So we will drop an Embreth. Flame Channeler. Let's just attack here with Karolus. And then we'll pass and see what he decides to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Would leave him 1 up after. Okay. We will go ahead and pay the Adamant. And that should seal the deck, seal it away right there. Nice. Whew. That was Carl game number 4 against the Kama Primal Calamity, piloted by Granatina21. We do have both colors. Smoldering Egg feels really good here, so we're actually going to keep this. And we are going to hope that we drew that 3rd land. Perfect. We're actually going to rip that, I think, maybe. Yeah. That just feels like the play. Want to keep our opponent from having any kind of mana acceleration to get to Zakama. And this way we can either War Boss or Relic Robber. Opponent is going to take 1. That's what he ends up going for. If he's smart, he actually takes the Amaria's Call here. Because it means we can't hit our land drop, and we're punished for greeting our mana base a little bit. Let's see what he decides to go for. He may not want us to have the War Boss or the Relic Robber, though. Yeah. So we'll actually go ahead and pay 3. Grab our War Boss. Get in for 1. Our opponent does have a Vanishing Light, though, for the War Boss, which is not nice. I'd say it's more on the mean side of things, but what do I know? So instead, we're going to Esper Sentinel, Kari Zev, get in for 1 more. Make our opponent still have to waste some pretty nice options. And Kari Zev is really good with what we've got. He's going to look for a land here, I'm sure. Not sure if he wants to pay the 1 or not, but we'll have to see. Does go for his mana base. So he is trying to still ramp up, which means we did set him off with that Arcane Signet play, which is exactly what we wanted to do. So let's actually move to combat with these. Pressure him down a little bit here with 5 damage for the swing. Or 4 damage, sorry. Math is hard. Doesn't want to block anything, which is exactly what I would do. We'll go ahead and I have Vecna here. And probably drop out the Smoldering Egg. Yeah. That way we can start potentially getting stuff out if we got like a big Banefire swing a little later in the game. We'd love to hit our 5th mana. Unfortunate, but still really good for him. We're gonna not do this, hoping we just draw into it normally, which is perfect. Unfortunately, he did draw into the 5th mana for the Burn Down the House. We still have a pretty good aggro game plan, and he is down to 3 mana sources. 3 cards in hand, sorry, 4 now. Plays another land. Still 3 turns potentially from Primal Calamity up here, which would be a Primal Calamity if he got that out on us. That's such an interesting line of play. This card, I feel like in Brawl, this card has done more harm than good for us right now. But we'll have to see. So we are going to decline that draw. Pretty okay with that. I like the Magic Missile, weirdly enough. And then, do we want to take this out and then try to take out Zerial, or do we need to pressure his face? Unfortunately, it looks like we need to do this, and we need to take out both. I wanted to pinch look at face, but we need to go damaging here. Thankfully, we're still getting to do some damage to him, and we're getting him down to that sweet space. Honestly, actually, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I should just hit him in the face with the combo. Let's see. So we just need to drop our opponent down to 2 points. I think we could potentially do that this turn. Or 3 points. Alright, we need to do 7 damage. Which I think we have enough for. And then... Nice. Actually, just in case he's still with Trickery. let's do this smart. Okay, just in case. Alright, game number 5 versus Cody. And this seems like a very interesting hand, because we're going to be trying to do... we're going to probably go ahead and try to Esper Sentinel turn 1, I guess. I'd like... we could potentially afford to Sentinel on turn 2. Vedatora, what are you thinking? Yeah, I need to turn 2 this, so my curve can look like this. Getting out the Relic Robber into Cody could be really good. Yeah, we need to get the Relic Robber out turn 3, basically, to start getting ping damage out. Because we're going to have to basically try to close this out as quick as possible. I don't have a way right now to deal with a Cody that comes out. Which is, like, not good. Had we known those were our draws, that would have gotten better, but that's okay. Cody with 4 toughness, man. It's a problem. Ooh, actually, we could potentially bait here. Is it worth potentially trading the Esper Sentinel? I don't know. Oh, doesn't actually have the turn 3 Cody. That's really good for us. So we'll mountain. We're just going to go hard to the paint here. Dropping down to 14 turn 4 is really good, actually. And now we potentially have a Banefire that can finish out that's uncounterable. I'll have to wait and see. So let's see here. So we'll do... We're pretty cool. We're okay with this, actually. Like, it's not too bad for us. We're gonna go ahead and we'll shock to force more damage. Make him have another board wipe. Ideally, if Rem can live, we can grape shot combo and get to show that off. When it does draw, decides not to put it in the bottom for he likes the card he's getting for Escanta. Takes his 1, drops to 8, plays a Witherbloom Cemetery, or Woodland Cemetery. Calling Ritual is pretty good there. Unfortunately, it's sort of his own Escanta, but he does get 3 mana back, so we could Cody here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and... Looks like we've actually got it here. So we play 2, kick. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and show off something kind of interesting. Go ahead and Frostbite. And then we're going to Grape Shot if he doesn't surrender. Ah, man. Wow. Okay. So that was some fast games. I had booked off a lot more time to play these, thinking we might have a couple more where it goes a little slower. So this might be my new deck to farm my first 4 wins of the day with. We'll have to see. But let's check in with the litmus test. For those of you who don't know, if this is your first video, the litmus test is essentially our scale for the 5 games we play, and it's going to tell us how bright our deck's future is. With that in mind, let's see how we did. And I don't even have to change my graphic because it's our first 5-0. This deck is resplendent, and oh wow, is it good. Honestly, one of our decks we built so far, it's right up there with Chatterfang for me. This deck is absolutely insane and can really farm out games very quickly. Outside of this 5-game test, I've put in about 40 games to the deck so far with something like an 80% win rate. It's pretty bonkers. That said, I do think part of it has to do with the time of the day I'm playing and the decks I'm going up against. Like, it's probably a lot less good in a mid-range than it is the aggro and control list that we're seeing a lot of right now. And that's something just going to happen with the natural, like, cyclical nature of the meta. But, yeah, guys, this is our first 5-0. I'm so excited. Yeah, so that's our episode for the day, guys. Yeah, so our 5 wins. If you guys want to leave me a comment down below with what your favorite matchup was, or if you've played the deck at this point and you have a favorite match or a highlight you want to share, let me know. The only thing I'm sad about is I didn't really get to show off us board wiping our another opponent's aggro deck, but it just wasn't on the cards this time. But that's okay. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Please give me a like, a follow. You know, the subscribe button is right down there. I appreciate it. It shows me doing everything right. Thanks for watching, guys, and be radiant.